Hi there. In this video we'll be covering how much can you earn by writing a book. Making money is one of the most interesting aspects of book writing, and the right book with the right message could generate six-figure revenue for years to come. The wrong book, on the other hand, could lose you tens of thousands of dollars. Keep watching to learn the steps you need to take to have the best chance of earning revenue from your book. By the end of this video, you'll learn how it's possible to turn your book into a revenue machine, even if you lose money on the book itself. And stay tuned until the end of the video for an opportunity I really think you're going to enjoy. Let's dive in. When we think about how much money you can make from writing a book, it really does depend. There's so many factors at play when it comes to book success and book revenue. It's such a crapshoot, it really is. In fact, you'll probably lose money on the book itself. It costs money to write and publish a book, even if you're doing steps by yourself. There is some out-of-pocket costs, inevitably. You know, some of those out-of-pocket costs could be tens of thousands of dollars if you work with a ghostwriter, for example, or if you work with a publicity team, or if you work with high-quality editors and designers. All of those elements cost money, and over time they can really pile up. So it's really not unheard of to see somebody spend $50,000 or more on the entire process of bringing their book to publication, to bringing their book to market. You would think that once you have that much spending on a book, then it's going to be almost impossible to make your money back. And that's where you could be wrong. It really depends. You know, if you have high value offerings from your company and you can get, you know, a couple people to buy your book, read it, and want to work with you and spend tens of thousands of dollars, you could offset your spending on the book by getting 2 people to sign up to work with you. 3 people could be six-figure revenue. I mean, that's such a quick turnaround when you think about just having 3 people read the book. That's it. 4 people read the book. That's it. There's so much opportunity that comes with connecting your message with the right audience and giving them the right calls to action to want to take a journey with you, to want to continue working with you in the future beyond the book. This isn't just about pleasure reading. You know, it's about taking a journey together. And the book is the start of that journey. Where do you go from here? How do you continue forward from here in a way that's empowering? If you can do that, you can create a revenue driver for your company for years to come. Years. You know, I've worked with people who 3 and 4 years ago we wrote a book and they're still making money off of it. At the time they were kind of worried, iffy, you know, how am I going to make my money back? It's by writing a great book with a great message, connecting it to a sales funnel. That's it. That is it. On the other hand, I've worked with people who were so focused on selling as many copies of the book as possible, by getting their book in as many hands as possible. They had a great message, but they didn't think beyond book sales. All they focused on were book sales. And that's the only thing that they had to measure book success. Here's the problem. Most books don't sell that many copies today. Most books only sell maybe a couple hundred copies at most. If you sell 500 or 1,000 copies of your book, you've already exceeded expectations. Disappointing, sad, yes. I agree. People should be reading books all the time. I wish some of my books had sold more. But at the same time, it's freeing to think of it that way, that book sales aren't the metric for success. I focus instead on impact. I focus on doors opening. How did your book change somebody's life? You know, how did doors open for you because of your book? You know, if you can focus on those things, you can have so much success, even if you don't sell many copies of your book. You know, when I go back to the person I worked with who spent all this money and time and focused on getting the book in as many readers' hands as possible, and their sales goals, you know, their number of copies sold was disappointing to them. They had no other way to make money from the book. That's the problem. There was no other next thing, no other revenue generator. You know, all you had to focus on, all this person had to focus on were book sales. Book sales are empty. Book sales are vapid. And sometimes book sales don't even lead to people reading the book. There's a lot of people who buy a book and it just sits on a bookshelf. So what really has been accomplished? You know, if you're focused on book sales and that's it, it's a really disappointing thing. You need to think of it in terms of other goals, whether it's the goal to publish a book, whether it's the goal to share a message with your family, whether it's, taking the next step in your entrepreneur journey, becoming a thought leader, establishing yourself as a rock star CEO. Whatever the case may be, by connecting your book with this deeper purpose, deeper message, you can really have a lot of impact. But you need to think beyond book sales, because book sales alone aren't the answer. They're not going to be the answer, and they're not going to provide you with a lot of revenue anyway. If you think about $5 a book going to your pocket and the rest of it going elsewhere, you need to sell a lot of copies of your book in order to make money from that. It's possible, it's doable. I'm not saying it's not. My friend Jonathan Stanley, after he went viral on TikTok with his book Purposeful Performance, he sold 12,000 copies in a week and became an Amazon bestseller, which was super exciting. Not expected, but it happened. So it's definitely possible, but the opportunities and the doors that opened for people like him far exceeded the revenue that he's going to generate from book sales. So by rethinking book sales and rethinking success with a book, you can actually drive so much more success. For me, I think about books as the ultimate business card. When you're doing a networking event and you start talking to people and you either share your information with them or hand them a business card, you want them to follow up. You want them to keep in touch. You want them to connect with you. A book is the ultimate business card because you hand it to somebody and it forces them to want to take action, not just to stuff the business card into their pocket and then just forget about it. You want somebody, when you meet with them, to take action, to do something, to follow through. By handing somebody a business card, they often stuff it into their pocket and forget about it, or their wallet. This is about somebody wanting to take action, wanting to act, wanting to do something more. So I see a book as the ultimate business card, the ultimate door opener. And when you think about books opening doors for you, that's when things get really exciting. It gets really exciting to get yourself into new rooms. Maybe you want to be a speaker on a speaker tour. The right book can get you into those speaker tours, to get you connected to the right people. And it can make you a thought leader in a space, so then you're called on. Now you're getting better interview requests. Now opportunities are popping up. All these things are happening because of the book. It had nothing to do with the book itself. It had everything to do with everything connected to the book. So it's not saying we overlook the book. And at the same time, it's not like you can just put forward a junk book and think that it's going to do all these things and open doors for you. It has to be a good book. It has to be a book that resonates. It has to be a book that really, really connects with its audience. If you can do all those things, and connect to your audience, get them excited, make them want to act, and do those things, things can open up for you. If you write a book that doesn't resonate, it's just empty. It's dead. That's it. It's not moving beyond that. So you really need to spend some time getting it right. You need to spend some time thinking deeply about your book, and you need to connect it to the right things in order for the actions that you want to have happen to happen. It's not enough just to say, I want people to do this. You need to give them the motivation, reason, and direction to do it. It's not enough just to, want to follow you on social media. There's more bigger things that you can connect to a book. This revenue driver, this revenue engine, that's what this is all about. It's about connecting the dots to your brand and your personal identity and your company and all these things together to get people to want to do something after they read your book. It's possible, it's doable. It just takes a lot of effort and a lot of determination. If you want to learn more about how much can you earn by writing a book, you'll definitely want to watch another video that I created. I'll link to it on the screen. It's called What Are the First Steps in Writing a Book? In that video, I go deep on purpose. I go deep on book foundation work. I focus on all the things that you need to do before you write a single word. Because if you can do those things, you're going to be well on your way to book success. Remember, a good book can change your life. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.